What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Tape Tune, the show where we talk about some of my favorite movies in my horror VHS collection. I'm Larry Downs, and we are in spooky season, baby, and I know what you're thinking. Man, Larry's gonna be bringing out a real banger of a movie for this one. Is it Nightmare on Elm Street? No. Is it Halloween? No. I decided to go with one of my favorite Halloween movies from my childhood, and that is Ernest Scared Stupid by John Cherry, starring the legendary Jim Varney. For you babies out there that don't have a clue as to who Ernest is, let's do a quick rundown. Ernest P. Worrell was a character portrayed by Jim Varney, who, up until the character's inception, had mostly done TV shows and a few projects here and there. He started out as a TV commercial character that was loved by so many people they gave him his own Saturday morning skit show, which led into Ernest having his own motion pictures. Ernest is a lovable goof with highly animated facial features who is constantly getting himself into trouble or in situations like camp, saving Christmas, going to jail, and questionably going to Africa. I've never seen that one, but I'm sure there has to be something slightly offensive in there at this point. But in this movie, Ernest is doing something that makes him a true hero here at the Tape Tune, and that's saving Halloween. Before we delve deep into this fond memory movie, let's get into the guts. Ernest Scared Stupid was directed by John Cherry, who was there to help produce the early Ernest commercials and would later go on to help write or direct each subsequent Ernest movie. And to call upon help to write this flick, he called upon Coke Sam's, who literally did the same exact thing. He helped write or direct each subsequent Ernest movie. Jim Varney is the big star in this movie because other than Eartha Kitt making a short appearance here and there, there's just a bunch of shitty kids running around that just get in the way, but unfortunately, they are the driving force of the plot. But what's this movie about? Let's pay the troll toll and find out. Roll the film. This movie starts out in the late 19th century as an ancestor of Ernest P. Worrell and a town of villagers seem to be burying a monster that's been terrifying the town and stealing the children. They tie it up and bury it under a tree to be sealed, but not before the troll places a curse upon the Worrell family. The curse states that only a Worrell can release the troll from its slumber under the tree the night before Halloween. But along with this, each generation of Worrells will get dumber and dumber until one is foolish enough to somehow let him escape. We then jump 100 years into the future with this good-looking son of a gun, Ernest P. Worrell, the town's local sanitation worker. As Ernest is helping out some of his middle school buddies build a new treehouse after the jerky mayor's kids broke their current one, he picks the best damn tree in the woods for him. Oh wait. The old witchy lady, Old Lady Hackmore, notices this and gives Ernest a stern warning, and for some reason gives him the magic words to absolutely not say to release this ancient evil. So what does Ernest do? The obvious. He's being a goofball and says the words, unleashing the evil troll Trantor onto the city. As kids start to disappear one by one, the parents are outraged, but not outraged enough to cancel the Halloween party, of course, because the kids will just show up there, you know? Not only does Tantor capture more kids and turn them into little wooden dolls, but he also gets a hold of Ernest's best comrade, Rimshot. What will Ernest do to rescue everyone's kids while they're too busy getting spooky, while also saving the town from a troll takeover, while more importantly, saving Halloween? He might need some backup, but we're all rooting for you, buddy, in Ernest Scared Stupid. The practical effects and sets in this movie are awesome. The trolls are scary looking and gross, the treehouse is probably one of the coolest things ever. No kid could possibly accomplish something like this, but when you were young watching this, it felt like a super cool fortress that you and your buddies would dream of, and if you were a weird kid like me, you also dreamed that it was in this weird spooky setting. This movie also pushed the boundaries a little bit on the scare factor of kids movies. Unlike Hocus Pocus or other Halloween flicks, this one definitely had a big creep factor to it. Like this shot, for example, that The Conjuring has based its entire scare style from. Things like this, along with our main protagonist Ernest, lighten the mood, which gives the kids a good palate cleanser after the scary stuff. Granted, kids today probably won't be scared by anything in this movie as they've all been desensitized and numbed by the internet, but you never know. This wasn't the last Ernest movie, but it's certainly the best. It has good horror elements, a story that you want to see all the way up until the end, and it definitely holds up more than a lot of older Halloween movies of the same time. Don't get me wrong, you can have your Hocus Pocuses and Halloween Towns, but at the end of the day, I'm here to see Ernest save Halloween and kick some troll ass. For all these reasons and more, Ernest Scared Stupid is a perfect fit for us here at the Tape Tune. Here's some facts about Ernest Scared Stupid. The pizza scene being thrown at the bullies who try to attack the kids' treehouse are actually reused props from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze from 1991. Both movies had the same prop master, Doug White. The Kyoto brothers are credited for the special effects of this movie. They're responsible for doing the classic killer clowns from outer space. If you look closely at the trolls in this film, you will see there are a lot of heavy resemblances, and it's no coincidence. A lot of the same molds were used to create the trolls in Ernest Scared Stupid. Some people believe that the reason this movie didn't do so well at the box office is because it was, well, too scary for kids. The idea of a troll stealing the souls of children and taking them away from their parents so he can become stronger just didn't sit well with parents, and they weren't rushing into the theaters. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of the Tape Tomb. If you liked this week's episode, make sure you click that like and subscribe button down below, or drop me a comment telling me other movies I should talk about in future episodes. Make sure you also tune into our sister series Airlock Shock, starring Nick Haskin every other week here at Nightmare Fuel Streaming. He's always talking about really cool, or really lame or weird, which makes them cool in our eyes, sci-fi movies, just like we do horror here at the Tape Tomb. I've been your host, Larry Down. Stay spooky, my friends, and we will see you in the sequel.